Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Printfluencers, a Rackham sponsored podcast where we interview the movers and the shakers pushing the print and mail industry forward. I'm your host, Katelin Shanks, and today we are actually traveling across the border to have a conversation with one of our favorite Canadians, Joanne Gore, the president and chief strategist of Joanne Gore Communications. Welcome to Printfluencers. Thank you for joining.
Hey, Caitlin, thank you for having me. I can't believe it's taken this long, but I'm glad we made it happen. Excited to be here with you. Excited to talk about what's going on in the industry, what's coming up with Printing United, and everything else in between.
I know we have to really thank the team over at Printing United for getting us back in touch and putting the whole all-star cast and crew together because I think it's really, at least from my perspective, already created so many great conversations just within our little group that I think are really going to go and permeate all of Printing United once we're there in
Oh
person.
yeah.
It'll be a
It's
force.
it's so exciting. All the different personalities, all of the different approaches. I think it's really cool how we each have sort of taken the baton and run with it in our own unique ways. I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing the collaboration and just the energy of the Expo All Stars team.
Yeah, it's infectious. And speaking of Printing United, you are actually speaking at Printing United. Tell us about, the sessions you've got coming up.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. So yeah, I got my little cheat sheet because I'm kind of everywhere at Printing
You
United. I'm
are.
wearing many, 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 many hats. So my first hat, of course, is as you mentioned, President, Chief Strategist at Joanne Gore Communications. Ultimately, I'm on a mission to help the print industry sell more print. So that's my goal. Um, Starting with my session here on Wednesday, the 22nd at 11 a.m. So that session is called Thriving in Chaos: How to Make Money as a Printer in a Digital World. This is a presentation that I've been giving throughout 2025. I've given it several times. Each time is a little bit different, but this one presentation is sort of the culmination of everything that I've learned and the questions that I've been asked, and includes a whole new section on the AI elephant in the room. So I love giving it, and I'm really excited to give this iteration of it at Printing United. Also on the 23rd, I'll be part of the enterprise print track that's going on all day or pretty much all day, I think from 10 till 3. And it's in room S320EF. It's happening all day. So I'll be taking place in the welcome session as well as at 12 o'clock. I am doing an accessibility reality check panel. So I will be moderating a panel of experts from within the CCM industry, customer communications manager. You know that industry very well. So that's at 12, and it's finding opportunities in accessible personalization. So everything that's going on in that arena, and what's being done to create accessible communications. And then, of course, there's the enterprise print wrap up happening at 2 o'clock on Thursday. All of that, we're also going to be introducing everybody to the new founded association that I'm a co-founder of, the CXMPA, the Customer Experience Management Professionals Association. It's really a lot of the offshoot of the former Explore Association. So the CCM segment of our industry, Scott Mulkey has done a phenomenal job at resurrecting, keeping it alive. All those people who've gone for their EDPs and MEDPs and electronic document professional certifications. He's keeping it alive so we don't lose that mind trust and that information. And I know that Rackham was a longtime supporter of Explore. We were just chatting about where we met up at the conference.
Yes.
So yeah, hopefully we'll see Matt and you and the Rackham team on Thursday at the Enterprise Print sessions.
Oh,
What else am
definitely.
I doing? I'm wearing my Girls Who Print Canada hat. So there's my little
Oh,
pin.
yes, I've got my pin. It's on my backpack right now,
That's
ready to go.
awesome. So today, I don't know when this is going to air, but today is International Print Day. So happy International Print
Yes.
Day to everybody who's celebrating. I'm trying to jump onto the sessions. Um, Shout out to Deborah Korn, who's doing an awesome job
Yeah.
of really helping to promote our industry and promote um, all the girls, all the women, all the
All
fierce
us
females.
ladies.
All the
Yes.
ladies are in the house. So I will be wearing the Girls of Print Canada badge. And we're trying to build our membership base up there and get some events going in 2025. So yeah, a lot of hats.
No kidding.
And of course the
Holy cow.
expo and the expo all-star, we can't forget that. So um yeah, I'll be running around a lot in my
I'll
bright
just
orange
see you
running
in a
shoes.
blur zipping across the conference floor. Like, oh, that's Joanne. She's running to the next thing. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. And the bright orange, I always tell people I'm vertically challenged. I'm not very tall, so in order to find me you can't usually see me, so I always tell people just look down, just look for the
Just
bright
like
orange running shoes, it's probably me. So
right. Oh my gosh. I was, picking out what I'm wearing at Printing United. And, I think I'm really going to embrace the CMYK and, I've got this magenta dress on. I've got, magenta jackets. So you'll have the orange shoes. I'll have magenta. Yeah.
I've got cyan. I'm actually doing the same thing. I'm packing all the colors of the print rainbow. I've got cyan, magenta, yellow, black, white, and I might throw in some sparkle just for
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we can match in the sparkle. I've got this little jacket and it's decked out in some sequins. Oh my
I
goodness.
love it. I love it.
Gotta make it fun. Print is full of color. We're not, a group of lawyers or, finance folks where we're buttoned up and, in our
Not at
suits and
all.
ties all day. So might as well have some fun with it. Um,
Absolutely.
no, when I was looking through, your LinkedIn posts and obviously getting caught up to speed with what you'd been doing in the industry, one thing that, really struck me and what I'm excited to hear you speak about at Printing United is where the industry is at in terms of spending, because we all want to know where are those dollars going. And you mentioned, we're kind of in this time of fear, uncertainty, doubt, FUD. And so I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit about that and what you're seeing.
Yeah, FUD. FUD is all over. FUD and FOMO. Some of my two favorite terms. FOMO being the fear of missing out, and then there's that fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which is marketers love that term. It's often used in industries like insurance. It's really scaring you into compliance, like you better do
Mm-hmm.
this or else. Well, you know what? We're kind of in the same boat. I hate to say it. Um, you know God bless this industry. We're amazing, except to ourselves. I think we are our own worst enemies in so many ways. Those of us who made it through COVID, some by the skin of their teeth, and some thrived. Kudos to everybody. This next big wave, this whole AI insurgence, is really changing the game, and not in a bad way, but it can be in a bad way if you're scared of it, if you don't understand it. Again, spoiler alert, my biggest takeaway is going to be, if you have not played with AI, if you've not tried it by the end of this year, just go retire, because you're gonna miss the boat. And it's not a steep learning curve, but it's so fast. I was playing with AI. Now I've been playing with it for quite a while, but from where I started to where we are today, even some days I look at it, I'm like, okay, I'm just too old for this crap. Like, there's just no way. But at the same time, I love it. It's such an amazing tool. The the biggest challenge that I'm seeing now is this AI slop. The
Yes.
fact that everybody is just turning to AI and it's churning out words
Hmm.
and they're not necessarily being properly reviewed. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that it gets right, but there's a lot of things that it gets wrong. And if you are 100% dependent on what it's turning out, and you're not paying attention to the red flags, and you're not looking for the sort of the gotchas or where you
The
need
new.
to check, and that all just comes from playing and trying and learning and failing and experimenting. And I mean, that's why I love marketing, because that's what it's all about. But you know, it's free, and like, it doesn't cost anything. Even if you were to pay, it's $20 a month. It's not a huge investment. And again, the amount of time that it can save on so many elements of your business, of your personal life. Um, and it comes into what you feed it. But going back to that fear, uncertainty, doubt, we've got a lot, not just AI. There's the economy, there are the tariffs, there's global uncertainty, there's political unrest, there's social unrest. We can all, you know we either crawl into a ball and just decide to, okay, I'm just going to ignore it and live in my little bubble and hope it all goes away, which it's not.
No.
Or we can just figure out how we're going to adapt to
Hmm.
what is happening, and how we can take what's happening and turn it around into something positive. And ultimately, that's what I'm really trying to share, is how can you take all of these potentially horrible, game-changing, disruptive things and find the lemonade.
No. No, I mean, it's so true. And, even what I've just been seeing over on the Rackame side of the business when we're talking to folks in this industry is that they almost want to, they want to invest in technology. Like they like the idea of AI. But then, they start to think, okay, well, wait, but I kind of need to do this, and maybe I need to do that and this and the other thing. And all of a sudden they have 15 different technology projects they want to do, and they don't know which one to prioritize. And they're looking into all of them all at once. And it has created just the perfect storm of analysis paralysis that I've ever seen. It's gotten worse. I know I've only been in the industry 2.5 years. I will preface it with that, but I have seen a trend line. And part of me thinks, okay, you can, do all of the research and look into all of these parallel projects and try and get it just right and hone it in. Or you can, find a couple and identify that there's value there, that they will help, grow your profitability or cut your costs as an organization, and just make the investment and do something, take that step forward. Because, the competitors who are going to make it through this next iteration of the print and mail industry, this era, they're the ones who are, making those incremental changes and investments. They're not waiting necessarily for the stars to align, for our chakras to be in order, and for the, perfect moment. And I think they're like, that is one difference that I've seen between companies who are really, really thriving are the ones that are kind of taking chances and investing versus the ones who are stuck in that, research phase. And have you
Yeah,
seen that on
you're
the side as well?
100%. The biggest mistake, and I'm seeing it now, and I'm feeling it now, is this sudden, like, oh, we got to put the brakes on marketing. We can't
Mm-hmm.
afford marketing now. We got to focus on sales. And I'm like,
You can't do one without the other.
you can, what are you actually saying? You're saying, well, we can't go shopping for food, but we need to eat. That's
Mm,
literally what you're saying. Is we can't go grocery shopping, but we need to eat. And unfortunately, and I'm not trying to be pithy, there are a lot of people who are in that position, and it's horrific. But if you have control over um, where you're spending your dollars, and you need the revenue to come in, then you need to spend the dollars on driving that revenue, not hoarding the dollars, waiting for the revenue to come in before you spend it. And it's 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 hard.
Yeah,
It's
it's scary.
scary. It's scary. It's hard. It keeps people up at night. Um, it's why, and I have to do a shout out to the Sheet for Brains team. It's why they're starting this movement on mental health in the print industry, because we are all facing, whether it's analysis paralysis or FUD, or that fear of, I only have X, and I have to pay my employees, and I have to pay my um, suppliers, and I have to pay for marketing. So
Mhm.
what do I do? What do I pay first? Where do I go? And you know, there are people who have lived through these times, and we're the folks that can help you figure out how to answer the
Navigate.
questions. What, I again, I try to oversimplify things probably to a fault, but for me, it's all about, what do you need now? What do you need next? And what do you need
Mhm.
later? And as long as you know what you need now, you can always, slightly change the trajectory as long as you know where you're going, right? You
Mhm.
need to have that final destination, not to bring it back to AI, but to bring it back to AI. It's the same thing. If you don't know what you want to get out of it, then how will you know if what it's giving you is really going to move that needle? So you have to
Mhm.
have an idea of what you want to get out of it. Um, and again, I have all kinds of tips and hacks on how to do that. But you're so right. It's truly, it is scary times, but it's opportunistic. I mean, there are segments of the industry that are on huge growth trajectories. So,
Right.
and it's understanding, and it doesn't mean you have to, everybody has to run out and suddenly become, get into be a converter, or labels and packaging, or embellishments, or direct mail, or political mail, or whatever. But it's looking for where those opportunities can potentially lie within your own customer database. What else can you offer to the customers you already have? And
Mhm.
I also want to touch on something where you were saying, waiting for it to be perfect. You can't wait for it to be perfect. You wait for something to be perfect, you've missed the boat. Those days are gone. I'd
Yeah.
say, the 80/20 rule that I've lived by for the last, I'd say pre-COVID, just about pre-COVID through COVID, even that's gone down to 70/30. And honestly, I hope it gets back up to 80/20. I think AI has driven it down to 60/40, truthfully. Like,
Really? Okay.
yeah, I truly believe AI has hampered, um again, potato potato. This is a conversation I can't wait to have, maybe in one of the spill the ink sessions that we're at. We can talk about
Yeah.
this, because what is good enough? And again, for most people, 80% of the way is good enough. And then you tweak and get it to 90, 95, 100, or you realize, no, this was good enough, and now I'm going to do the next thing to 80. And if you can get everything up to 80%, and you can get six things up to 80% versus one thing up to 100%, let's go for the six.
Mhm.
If you're trying to get 12 things up at 60%, I don't know. I think you're firing on the wrong cylinders, and there's too much opportunity for leaving a bad taste in people's mouths, leaving the wrong
Yeah.
impression, saying the wrong thing. Um, Things fall through the cracks that you wish, it's like, oh, how did this get out? How did Nobody ever wants to say, how did this get out? And
Yeah.
I'm seeing that more and more and more of like, who let this go?
Yeah.
How did anybody approve this? And I'm seeing it in the media. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm reading articles, and I'm like, who approved this?
Well, oh, speaking of that, so I live in California, and so there's a special election. I think it's Prop 50, and I get the big pamphlet in the mail where it talks to you about that piece of legislation, and I'm reading it line by line because I'm in print. So I'm like, oh, let's see what we've printed today. And I noticed that in one section, it was saying that it would cost the taxpayer, I think it was 2 million. I might get these numbers off. And then I flip through, and towards the back, there's another section where it says 20 million is the cost. And I go, oh my gosh, someone didn't proof this. And there's a
Oh,
zero discrepancy. And I was actually probably going to write a little article on LinkedIn and figure out, like, again,
that's
how can this
huge.
happen?
That's huge.
Because think about how many of those huge booklets get sent to just all of the people in this state, the cost of that one mistake.
Oh,
And, we've got tools, like even just simple tools like proofing tools where it does, the pixel for pixel light test comparison. It's going to catch a missing zero.
yeah.
So
I
yeah.
One of the things I learned very, very early on in my career, like really early on in my career, um, was to always dial the phone number. Always, and these two things didn't exist then, but they exist today. Always scan the QR code and always click on the link, because there's nothing worse than sending something out, and again, it could be a letter was dropped, a number was dropped, something happened. We did a direct mail campaign. Again, I'm going back many, many, many years. It was a huge postcard campaign, and it wasn't realized until after the whole campaign was issued that there was no call to action. So
Oh
a whole
no.
postcard campaign, like the whole thing went out, the whole direct mail campaign. And again, this was in an era of there was no internet.
Like you
We
needed a
didn't
call to action.
have
You
the
couldn't
tracking
just go, oh,
mechanisms. We
this
didn't have
company, let me just go
pearls, or
Google it.
yeah, there was
Mhm.
no um uh what is it? Mail track. What do you have in the USPS? A
Yeah, mail
tracking mail.
tracking,
Yeah.
IMB numbers. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So no. And so yeah, we kind of had to do the whole thing all over again. It was interesting.
Yeah.
But
And those problems still exist. It's so funny. You were like, oh, this is an older example. I'm like, I don't know. That could have been something I heard talking to someone, at Printing United just last year. So, there are still some things that we have not fully ironed out. And even
yeah.
with all these advancements in technology, you still need to use the right tools and have the quality control checks and, slow down a little bit to speed up.
And when you're if you don't know, just ask somebody. Like there are so many of us out there who have been in the trenches and been in the I mean, Lord knows I've been in the hot seat for my entire career, wearing 50 million different hats, having everything thrown at me. I know what it feels like, and it's easy to make a mistake. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or you don't know. It just sometimes there's just so much on your plate that things slip through, and that's when you need another set of eyeballs or another set of hand or just a sounding board to say, well, did you think about this? Did you check that? Did you? I know everybody reads and overreads all of the legal type because it's teeny tiny, but they never check the headlines because it's big. So it has to be right. But guess where most of
Mhm.
the typos are? In the headline, not in the little mouse type. And
Yeah.
it's just these little things that it's all the lessons learned. And that's, where I'm hoping that I can share some of that wisdom. And again, that's why I keep bringing it back to AI. um whether it's AI, Canva is a great example. I remember when Canva came out and suddenly everybody was designing and like, oh, you just, got rid of an entire market of graphic designers and you've put them all out of work. And you
Mhm.
know what? I think
That
people are
sounds familiar.
really finally starting to realize that just because you can use Canva doesn't make you a graphic designer. And just because you have AI does not make you a copywriter or a marketer or a salesperson. It can help you get closer, but
Mhm.
you still have to put in the 10,000 hours. You still have to put in the time to learn that discipline or work with somebody who can help you.
Yeah, absolutely. As someone who is not a marketer and have a great team for that, but I have gone and done little things on Canva in my personal life, of course. And if that doesn't give you a greater appreciation for what y'all do, I don't know what does, because you're sitting there clicking the mouse. I call it digital arts and crafts. I would much rather be using my scissors and my paper, but no, it's truly incredible. And Canva didn't wipe out graphic designers. I know there's a lot of fear around that with AI, but like we've seen this show before. So, all right, well, how did we pivot back when Canva really came to bear? And we're going to have to do the same thing with AI. And on this show, I always like to give really tangible next steps that people can take, because sometimes it can feel a little doom and gloom because we talk about all these really wild concepts and trends. And as we've been talking, one thing that keeps flashing in my mind is that that first step you can take is just reaching out and having conversations with people, because I don't know of anyone, Rackme does this, you do this, really anyone in our industry, everyone's so nice here, who wouldn't take someone's phone call and have a conversation and
Absolutely.
give free advice, be that sounding board. And so, like, to me, that would be the first step that really anyone should take if they're going, oh gosh, what do we do now?
Yeah, it's what do you do now? What do you do next? What do you, and even that concept sometimes when I say that is sort of like oh, holy crap, I've never thought of it that way. So again, things, this sadly, this is what comes with age. You learn, you've got more to look back and reflect on than the forward.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that, you don't know what you don't know. But
Yeah. Or you can't see the forest through the trees, especially if it's
yeah,
your own company and you're in it and living it every day. I see that a lot.
so
Very
great story. And
yes.
when you're doing stuff for other companies or other people, it's very different than when you're doing it for yourself. And for a lot of people, the easiest way to relate to that is try to write your LinkedIn about. Writing it about yourself is probably one of the hardest things you can do. Writing it about somebody else, not a problem. Writing it about myself, very, very hard. So
Oh, true.
same thing goes to, let's say, marketing best practices, right? We all I know what they are, but I made one of the stupidest marketing mistakes. To this day, I still kick myself in the head for it,
Oh,
because
no.
I launched my book a couple years ago at Printing United. Um, I was in the What They Think booth. They were kind enough to let me have a table, and it was giving away copies of the book, and I was taking selfies with people, and I was signing autographs, and everything was wonderful. And we come to the end of the show, and it's like, so who did I give the books out to?
Oh, no.
Never
Not a clue.
tracked. Did not, to this day. I don't know if you've got a book. Let me know, like, what you thought of it, please, because I have no. I mean, I know a few people who I gave it. I have no clue. Like hundreds of books I gave out.
Oh,
No idea. No idea. But live and
yeah.
learn.
And I
Live
bet
and
if you were
learn.
working on the flip side for someone else,
I would
that
have
would
been
have
like
never
on
happened.
it, on
Hmm.
it. But the cobbler, and I. That's what I see with a lot of printers. They're so busy doing wonderful, amazing, gorgeous projects, and simple black and white projects, doesn't matter for other people. But when it comes to marketing for themselves, when it comes to paying attention to what they need, they don't do it. They don't have their webs. Let's not talk about the websites. Um, but there's some things that could be done a lot better out there. And I hate to pick on the printers, but at the same time, we just make it so easy because of what we do, because it's what we've always done.
Yeah. And I know you said you don't like to pick on printers, but I also like to think, all right, if you had a friend sitting across from you with spinach in their teeth, you would tell them. And so if we can't be that mirror for ourselves in a supportive community, then what's even the point? So I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think there should
Yeah.
be more candidness and critical conversations out there,
I
personally.
think printers need to be showing off the value of what they do, not the methodology of how they manufacture it. And those days are gone. I
Mhm.
hate to burst the bubble. Nobody cares what equipment you have. Nobody cares how many sheets, if you're buying that equipment, it matters a lot. But what
Yeah.
matters to you in your decision making process is a very little consequence to your customer. And it's so important to really understand what matters to your customer. Um, again, when people say, oh, I don't want a website that's, I don't like the color green. I never want to see the color green.
Okay.
Okay, but if for whatever reason that's a color that resonates with your target audience because it means something to them, guess what? You're going to go with
Put
green.
it
That's it.
on.
Otherwise, I don't really care what color you use, as long as it meets the accessibility guidelines. That's something. And again, I'm just using that as an example. But again, these are all things we know. We know this stuff. Like, it's not rocket science. We just either are afraid of it because we
Mhm.
don't understand how it works. It's like the Canva thing. It just looks so easy until you go to do it and you realize, oh crap, this is a lot harder than. How do they make it look so good? Well, because
Mhm.
they know what they're doing. But
Yeah.
that's okay. You learn, you play, and you move forward. But if you don't try, if you don't test things or play with things or get a sense of what's going on or learn the new learn the social media channels where your customers are, not where you are, where are
Yeah,
the
forget about
customers.
everything you're doing. Like, forget
That
about the
doesn't
word
matter.
"you" when you're talking about marketing and positioning.
Yeah. I remember having um vocal argue discussions, very vocal discussions around keywords. Because inevitably keywords that certain product managers or developers or founders or owners would want to
Mhm.
use have zero bearing on how people search. Great example these days is labels versus stickers, right? People are
Oh,
looking up stickers. Stickers have made a huge resurgence. We say labels and
yeah.
packaging because we're in the industry, but is somebody going to search if you're a small business starting like a little, you're selling nuts and seeds or something and you or
Totally, and
flour
you're
and you
putting the
say,
label on the
yeah, do
bag.
I need a
Yeah,
sticker? Are you going to look for a sticker for your bag or are you looking for a label for your bag? So
I
a
would look for
lot
a sticker.
so
Yeah,
these are just little things that you have to think about before you make that leap into this is what we're doing because we're labels and whatever, or we're converters, or we're okay. But if you don't know that that's the industry term, then what is somebody who's searching for it going to call it? What would your
yeah.
grandmother call it? What would your neighbor call it who knows nothing about the industry and they have to buy this? I do this with my kids a lot because they're
Oh,
all,
I was just about to say I do it with my parents in technology, and I explain to them what we do at Rackame, and I then ask them, and I'm like, "All right, so what do I sell?" And I get their interpretation of it because that's a great baseline. Sounds like you do it with your kids. I mean,
yeah,
we have data points available. We have test subjects. You just have to
yes.
go out and ask.
Exactly. There have been many times where I would say, how would you look this up? And
Mm-hmm.
the first answer is usually, or I'll ask chat, or I'll go on Google, or I'll ask Siri or whatever. I'm like, okay, great. What's the question you're gonna ask? What
Yeah.
words, if you could describe this in one or two words, what would they be? How would you look this up in as few words as possible? Those are the questions. And guess what? You could ask your clients that. When
Oh, yeah.
if you're buying direct mail and you're looking for a provider, What's the first thing you're going to look for? How are you going to look for it? Where are you going to look? Who are you going to ask? And as somebody who offers a solution to that, you need to know all those things so that you can be the one that they ask, so that you can be in their orbit, right? That's where
Mm-hmm.
social is so beautiful, because you can have those conversations, meet
In real
people.
time.
You're not even selling them anything. You're just learning about them and how they search or whatever it is you're trying to figure out, so that when it is time, they're going to remember you.
Yeah. I mean, not sure if this is a good story or a bad story, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Yeah,
But
go for it.
being newer to print, I had no idea what direct mail was. Like in my head, when I get mail in my mailbox, all right, like that's what we call junk mail.
It's
I'm
junk
so
mail.
sorry to the whole print to
No,
mail
it's
industry,
junk
but
mail.
junk mail.
It's junk mail. Let's be real. It's junk
And
mail. That's
so
what everybody calls it.
that's probably what I would have, used as a keyword if I was a small business and I was like, all right, I need those little business card flyers to go to everyone in my neighborhood. I would probably use some variation of who are the people that print the junk mail? How do I get that?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm not putting in, I need a direct marketing company in my area. No, I had no idea.
They don't even know
Um,
what they need. So direct mail is so scary to so many marketers because they only know digital marketing. So you have to
Interesting.
equate the direct mail with digital marketing. So your subject line, that all important subject line, that's your envelope, right? You have to get somebody to
Ooh,
open it. So what's it going to take to get the envelope opened? So is it going to be, you know, again, I ran studies and tests again years ago. I can tell you without uncertainty, you send somebody something in a red envelope or a yellow envelope or a green envelope, they're not going to throw it out,
interesting.
because they're going to
Okay.
think it's some sort of card or invitation or something. How could you throw that out?
Interesting.
You
Yeah.
send somebody lumpy mail or in a bubble envelope or something that has some intrigue to it, they're going to want to
Hmm.
open it up.
Well, just the other day, I got a piece of mail and it looked like someone had sent me a Christmas card. It was in, that type of envelope. And I was like, oh, that's weird. It's not Christmas. Did this get lost in the mail for 8 months? What's going on? And so then I opened it and it was, an ad for, I don't know, maybe like Shutterfly or something like that. And I would never have thought that it was going to be an ad for their product. So they totally got me. But you know what? I opened it because I was intrigued. So I definitely think that was a great subject line. I clicked.
Exactly. So it's that. So that's the first thing, right? Getting them to open it. Then you have to get them to actually act upon it
Hmm.
and do what you want them to do next. So again, it all comes back to, you've got their attention. You have that attention for maybe 5 seconds if you're lucky. What are you
Yeah.
going to do with that attention? What is it that you want them to do next? And how can you get them there in as quickly and as effortlessly as possible? And that could be to scan a QR. When you're talking about print, the best way is scan a QR code, go back online where everybody's happy and okay, I'm in my happy place again. I don't understand this funky stuff here, but now I'm
Hmm.
in my happy place. But digital marketers today, they don't understand that. So there's the whole envelope at play. There's the size of the envelope. How big can you go before we're charged more? How can we
Hmm.
take advantage of discounts? So if we
Yeah.
embellish things, if we use interactive elements, well, guess what? You save money. Really? I
Hmm.
didn't know that.
If
Everybody
you
thinks,
use
well, it's
those
going to
unique types of envelopes and the different shapes. Hmm.
exactly. Whereas everyone is so busy. Well, yes, it costs more. Of course, it costs more. You've got a manufacturing process. You've got a delivery mechanism, and um, but at the same time, you're creating a much more powerful experience and memory. because
Yeah, and if you
you're going
do
to
it well, it
remember,
works.
opening that envelope. You remember, as soon as I said the red envelope, like right away, you knew exactly you knew. So it
Mhm.
works. So again, we all know that. So do a mailing, do a quick mailing to your customers that says, did you know us for this, but we also do that. Like
Yeah.
something so simple. Again, 80/20. What is it? 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers.
Mhm.
Find those 20% and go after that
Mine.
business.
Mhm.
Yeah,
100%.
don't spend money on lists until you've mined your own database, until
Oof.
you've
Oh my
cleaned your own
goodness.
database, until you know that you have, wrung every last drop out of it. Then, based on what you've learned, you can go out and purchase a list.
Oh
Maybe.
my gosh. Can I get an amen? Absolutely. No, now that is a piece of tangible advice that, I mean, you can take that to the bank and cash that check all day long. And,
Absolutely.
maybe that's a good place to wrap it up because I just have to say, if this conversation is any indication of how Printing United is going to go, the spill the ink roundtables and all of the panels and the sessions that you're doing, I think people are going to be in for a real treat. And you'll have to make a point if you ever need a sugar pick me up. We're doing a Halloween theme over at the Rackame booth, which
Ooh.
5406, I believe. So everyone can come over and trick or treat.
Oh,
Um,
I'll be there. I'm always looking, when that at 2 o'clock, I'm always looking for where's the chocolate?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
That's
And I
me.
had a whole discussion with our marketing team. I was like, we can't get the bad candy pack. We all know what that is, and we're not doing it. I want the good candy. So,
Well, I want to know
it'll be
because
great.
I'm always looking for what we can't get in Canada. So there's certain you guys call
Oh,
them candy bars, we call them chocolate bars, but there are certain
okay.
chocolate bars that we don't get that you do. So I'm
Really? Oh,
always
give me an example. Do you
oh
have any off the top of
gosh,
your head? Like a Snickers, a Kit
no,
Kat?
we have Snickers and Kit Kat that her so her we have Hershey, but the Hershey in the States is different than the Hershey in Canada. I find it's a
Oh,
different chocolate. Um,
interesting.
I think Payday is one of those I've seen that we don't have. Um, there's just a few odd ones that it's
Oddballs.
like, yeah, but I do love when I see Hershey's or Hershey Kisses, then or little mini Marses. Those
Okay.
that if you if you wanna
You know
surprise
what? I
me.
think I can make some Hershey Kisses happen for you, Joanne.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to be as are you, Katelin. I believe as an all-star, we're going to have all kinds of like goodies and swag to give out to people. So I'm going to be
Mhm.
walking around with all kinds of girls who print Canada buttons. I might bring some copies of my book. I might be depends how much I can stuff into my suitcase.
Yeah.
But I do plan to bring some copies. I might be giving out those. Yeah, I don't know. I've contemplated bringing a second suitcase just so I can bring more stuff to give out.
Right. Oh, I'm checking a bag. That's just what happens. I always have to bring a bunch of stuff. I'm excited. Our swag this year is good. Well, at least I think so. I always just make us get the swag that I also want one of.
Oh, for
And
sure.
this year I don't have one. Are the clear stadium bags that you can bring into, baseball games or concerts.
Yep.
Those little kind of mini clear tote bags.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we slapped our logo on that this year, and so that's what we'll be
Love
palling
it.
around
Love it. So
with.
here's a couple of things to leave you with, and then we can tune out. Talking about swag. So some of people always say what's a good giveaway, right? Because
Oh
you
yeah,
give stuff away, it either ends up in the garbage, or given to your child, and
yeah.
that's okay. If it's something that's given to your child, it's still going to be there. Um, Umbrellas. Nobody will get rid of an umbrella. And there's nothing better than
Okay.
opening up an umbrella and your brand is on it. So umbrellas, playing cards, like a deck of cards.
Yep,
Again, people
I
will
have
always put a
many.
deck of cards in their bag, right? You can't be without that. And blankets. Those are my
Interesting.
three favorite giveaways. Again, high end, low end, mid end.
Mhm.
A really nice blanket with like a, almost like a debossed or an embossed logo in the corner. I've got one that I got, I think 20 years ago, and I still have it to this day.
Holy
It's
cow.
one of my favorite cozy, on a cold winter's night. Well, you wouldn't know that in California, but
Cold, 68 degrees.
oh my goodness. No, no, here we're in the 50s right now. It's a little chilly. It's a little chilly. It's getting there. It's fall.
I think it's 70 and sunny out my window right now. Oh my goodness.
It's okay. I can't complain.
Um,
Last week it was 90, so I can't complain.
oh my
I
gosh.
know.
All
Go
right.
figure.
Canada is going through some weather mood swings, apparently. Oh my goodness. Well,
Yes.
with that, Joanne, thank you so much for hopping
Thank
on and
you.
chatting with me today. And so excited to see you at Printing United.
Yes, thank you, Katelin. Please, if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, please follow me on LinkedIn, Joanne Gore 121. If you want to know the significance of that, well, you're going to have to stop me at Printing United. Um, our Expo All Stars codes. I'm Gore 25. Katelin, what's your code?
I will drop it into the comments of into the show notes of this video.
There you go. Go and
Make sure everyone
hashtag Expo All Stars.
absolutely. All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.